Good evening, children. Yesterday, we discussed about the disorders of circulatory system, and under this, we talked about the high blood pressure or hypertension and the coronary artery diseases, under which we talked about angina pectoris or heart attack, then cardiac failure, and also the reasons for heart attack, which were atherosclerosis or coronary thrombosis. Now, to complete this lesson, only one topic remains that we will wind up today, and this is double circulation. Now, before I begin with this topic, children, I'd like to show you your very own diagram of class 10 textbook. This is page 101 of your current textbook. That is the double circulation in the heart and the hepatic portal system. Now, it's important to understand that why should we call it as the double circulation. See, double circulation means that the blood passes through the heart for two times. That is, twice it passes for each blood circuit of the body. That is, the blood circulates along two independent pathways. That is, if you look at this diagram here, suppose here this is left auricle, this is right auricle, this is left ventricle, and this is right ventricle. Now we know, children, that the deoxygenated blood is entering the right auricle through the anterior vena cava, then posterior vena cava and the coronary sinus. From here the blood comes to the right ventricle and then it leaves through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. That is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. Here the act of purification takes place and now the blood is rich in oxygen and thus becomes oxygenated. Then it enters the left auricle. From here it comes to the left ventricle and now through the aorta it is distributed to the entire parts of the body. This is what we have studied. Now you can see, children, that the blood, that is, suppose we're talking of the given volume, let's say 100 ml of blood is entering for an example. The same volume of blood leaves chamber 1, comes to 2 and then leaves for lungs. Then same amount comes to left auricle, then left ventricle and then is distributed through aorta. Now do you notice that the same blood volume is entering the heart twice? That is, once on the right side and then leaves for lungs and then on the left side of the heart and is distributed. So this is why we call this type of circulation as the double circulation. In this, children, if we talk of the arterial system, then what is the arterial system? It is the system of blood vessels which transports blood from heart to various organs through this system. That is, arteries. Always remember, the biggest artery, the aorta, it is carrying the pure blood to the various parts of body. Similarly, if we talk of the venous system, that means the veins which collect back the dirty blood or the deoxygenated blood and bring it back to the heart. Okay, so under this double circulation, we have two independent paths to discuss. The first path is the pulmonary circulation. What is pulmonary circulation? Just now you saw it. It started with the right ventricle, right? And then it went to the lungs and came back to the left auricle. So we say that the course of blood from right ventricle to left auricle of heart via lungs. That is, the right ventricle is pumping the blood into the pulmonary trunk, which divides into pulmonary arteries. Then these supply the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. If you see this, this is supplying the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation, right? And now the oxygenated blood is returning to the left auricle and from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. Remember, pulmonary artery takes the dirty blood or deoxygenated and the pulmonary vein is the only vein which carries oxygenated blood. So this circulation starting from RV to LA, right, through the lungs is called pulmonary circulation. Similarly, if we talk of the systemic circulation, system means it's going to be circulated to the entire body system. This begins from where? From left ventricle, that is the pure blood or the oxygenated blood begins from left ventricle to the whole body till it is back to right auricle. That means in explanation you will always say this, that the left ventricle is ejecting out the oxygenated blood into the aorta, which gives off various arteries to all organs except the blood. See, this aorta will supply blood everywhere. You can see it's supplying the stomach, the intestine, everywhere, but not the lungs. Alright. Now this blood becomes deoxygenated by giving oxygen, and now the deoxygenated blood is returned to the right auricle, right, by two veins. We know it, the superior and inferior vena cava. So this circulation that started from left ventricle to the heart, that is right auricle, and that is through the entire system of the body except the lungs, is called the systemic circulation. Alright, so I hope you have understood this part, children, that what is double circulation, what is pulmonary, and what is systemic circulation. Right, under systemic circulation we have two more things to understand, children. Right, here we'll talk about, let's say we'll come back to diagram once again to this one. We have a portal system of circulation also here to be discussed. Now, what is portal system? In your previous book, children, you have studied the hepatic portal system. You have this page number 100 in your textbook, your current class 10th textbook. You studied the two blood circulations, pulmonary and systemic. We have discussed this. Now, along with this, you have another side heading as the hepatic portal system. Hepatic, children, means liver. We all know this. So, look at this liver first. You can see that liver is receiving the blood from all the digestive places like the stomach, intestine, then spleen, etc. Right? I'll show you a diagram. This is here. Get this diagram here, children. This is liver. If you can see, this is receiving various blood from the mesenteric vein. Now, certain new terms you might find. Mesenteric vein means the veins from various parts of alimentary canal. Then it is also receiving the vein from the spleen, and we call it as the splenic vein. Then it is also receiving the vein from the pancreas, and we call it as the pancreatic vein. So what happens, children? In the hepatic portal system, you have to understand that three different type of veins, mesenteric, then splenic and pancreatic, they are all joining first. You can see that they are all joining into one to form hepatic portal vein. This vein carries the blood from various parts of digestive glands, etc., digestive organs, etc. And what does it carry? It is carrying blood with food products like digested food products, glucose, amino acids, glycerol, fatty acids, etc. And where are these being carried to? The liver. Now, what happens to this hepatic portal vein when it enters the liver? You can see it immediately branches off into capillaries. This black color I have denoted for the capillaries. And why it is divided into capillaries? So that the blood can be supplied to all hepatic cells. Hepatic means the liver cells. Now, these capillaries in the liver, again they rejoin back. You can see here first they broke into capillaries and then they again rejoin back, right, in the liver itself to form a vein, and this is called as the hepatic vein. Right? Look at this. And this is a pair of them that come out. So hepatic portal vein is bringing all the different types of blood joined into one from mesenteric, splenic and pancreatic veins. Then entered the liver as the hepatic portal vein, broke into capillaries, supplied blood to various hepatic cells. Again it joined back into what you call as a pair of hepatic vein. Now these open into the upper part of this inferior vena cava. You can see this. This is directing the blood from the hepatic vein to the heart through the inferior vena cava, into the right auricle, right? So you can see it where it is going to supply that from the right auricle it enters the bloodstream, right? And in doing so, the digested food is collected by the blood from intestine. You know, it's important to understand that what is the advantage of this elaborate system, children. That what is the advantage of this hepatic portal system, or let's say the portal system here? The answer is the digested food collected by blood from intestine is received by the hepatic cells for storage and metabolism. Alright, that is, excess sugar can be stored as glycogen, and also various poisons sometimes can be absorbed, sometimes by mistake, through the food. In this case, these are detoxified, that is, they are rendered harmless in the liver. So that was the hepatic portal system or the hepatic portal circulation, children, that we discussed over here under portal circulation. And there's another type of portal circulation. We call it as hypophyseal portal circulation. First, understand this. In our brain, children, we know there's a master gland called pituitary, right? Why it is called master gland? This is the master endocrine gland, if you remember. Again, it's in your chapter endocrine system of class 10th. Now, this pituitary gland is just located somewhere nearby to this structure called hypothalamus. Right? Hypothalamus is somewhere here, and close to it is situated this gland called pituitary. Now what happens? Hypophyseal portal system is a system which collects the blood from hypothalamus of the brain and distributes to the anterior lobe of pituitary. That means the system is collecting the blood from the hypothalamus, right? And then distributing to the anterior lobe of this pituitary body or the pituitary gland. Now, because the blood is being carried, so obviously the hormones also would be carried from hypothalamus to reach the anterior pituitary. So this system of circulation of this blood from hypothalamus to anterior pituitary is via a system called hypophyseal portal system. So you can see here I have written blood plus hormones that it's going to bring in. This is a sagittal section, a rough layout of the human brain. You can see this is the cerebrum, the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata, and somewhere here close by I've just tried to show you the position of hypothalamus and pituitary gland. Alright, then there's another circulation. We call it as the coronary circulation. Now coronary, as the term tells you, obviously it is concerned with the heart. So what you're going to talk here? You're going to talk about coronary arteries and the coronary veins. Now always remember, children, arteries, they always supply the pure blood or the oxygenated blood, except pulmonary artery. So what are coronary arteries going to do? They will supply oxygenated blood to the cardiac muscles, right? That is, the right and left coronary arteries arise from the ascending aorta. Similarly, now pure blood, if it is distributed, the impure blood or deoxygenated has to be collected also. So again, similar, coronary veins, now these are also one pair, they collect deoxygenated blood from the cardiac muscles and then empty into a structure called coronary venous sinus. This supplies, this opens the blood into the right atrium. Right? So this is how the coronary circulation is only concerned to the heart muscles. To supply, it is through coronary arteries, and to collect the impure blood, it is through the coronary veins, right? And that completes the portion of double circulation, where you should be able to understand the pulmonary and systemic. I hope I have been clear there. In your textbook here, you have this diagram to show the pulmonary and systemic circulation, and you can understand this. Today I'll be sending you a file of all the pages scanned in a PDF file of your current textbook, so that you can have a copy of it, still for those who haven't been able to arrange the book. So this is all over, children, and this completes our entire syllabus for unit test 1. I'll just like to show you here. This is our syllabus here for unit test 1, virus we completed, and then body fluids and circulation. We talked about composition of blood, blood groups, coagulation of blood, composition of lymph and the functions, human circulatory system, the structure of human heart and blood vessels, that is arteries, veins and capillaries, cardiac cycle, cardiac output, ECG, double circulation, regulation of cardiac activity, disorders of circulatory system, difference between open and closed vascular system, external and internal structure of heart, working of heart and blood flow through the heart through different phases. Now this should be described under various headings like auricular systole, auricular diastole, this we had done it. Then ventricular diastole, ventricular systole and joint diastole. Definition of cardiac output, regulation of heartbeat, ECG, arterial blood pressure, systolic and diastolic, double circulation, internal structure of artery, vein and capillary, importance of ABO groups in blood transfusion, RH factor and its importance in transfusion and pregnancy, clotting of blood to be taught briefly, lymphatic system, a brief idea of lymph, lymphatic capillaries and lymph nodes, and finally we had the disorders of circulatory system such as hypertension, coronary artery disease, angina pectoris and heart failure. So I have completed every topic that has been mentioned into your syllabus, and here we come to an end of the syllabus for unit test 1, that is viruses and body fluids and circulation. I am going to send you the notes, student, and also the scanned pages of the entire textbook chapter for body fluids and circulation. Go through the entire text. If you have any problems, please drop your queries. I should be able to answer the very day. If I am not able to answer the same day, the very next day you will get your answer. Alright, keep revising and all the very best for your exams. Thank you.